Everybody, Astrocatical here from the Astrocastrophe, and we've got a lot of crazy fucking news today, especially with everything that has happened in Colorado Springs involving the shooter, who is now identifying as a non-binary person, which I believe is incredibly interesting. I think that is meant to sort of serve as a distraction from the shooting itself. I think this is someone well, I mean, I'm not saying this is a conspiracy by no fucking means. I'm not saying this is conspiracy. I'm saying this is someone who, in all probability, is trying to take away any sense of accountability for what he has done. But I mean, just look at the guy. His name is Lee Aldrich, age 22, sex non-binary. He's looks like this 200-pound tub of shit who, walked into a nightclub, a gay bar or something like that, and, opened fired because maybe he has some misgivings with people of the LGBTQ. Maybe he's a bigot, maybe he's hateful, or maybe he's a repressed person. I don't know, but I kind of think that's maybe the defense he's going to use if they take him seriously with this non-binary shit, because he does not look non-binary. He is a bearded man with a criminal record already, because back in 2001 he kidnapped his mother and made a bomb threat. So there's a lot going on with this stuff right now. Like, if he was arrested, and I believe he was arrested, there are red flag laws that currently aware of. I don't know how effective they are, but it seemed that they should have been enforced, but from the popular nomenclature of things, that's, these aren't effective, they don't work, they're unconstitutional, they actually misappropriate the mentally ill, they disarm minorities. I don't know, but I do tend to think that if you're going to abduct someone, even if it's your mother or your sister or a sibling or anything, that's a felony offense, especially if you have a bomb and you intend to blow things up. But I think partly what plays into that is his grandfather is a GOP lawmaker. Now, that's not me blaming the conservatives. No. I'll let the media do that. I know the media is going to do that, so I'll let the media do that. I do tend to think, though, being that if I were in his situation and I had abducted my mother or I had made a bomb, I would be going to prison. I would assume the same for most other people, unless they are incredibly rich or they have a political figure in their family, like a lawmaker. I don't know. I just don't understand how he could purchase a firearm or even get his hands on one and then enter a nightclub and shoot people. Either way, yes, his grandfather is a GOP lawmaker, and I'm going to tell you right now that this is going to be brought up plenty within the scope of the internet, the scope of internet forums, media outlets, Reddit, Twitter, and even, news sites such as the New York Times, I believe, are going to be informing you of this, because they're going to try to blame the shooting on conservatism. Of course they are. That's what the left does, and the right tries to basically call everybody pedophiles. That's what it is at the end of the day, and that's why I've got Tim Pool up here. Not that he's a right-winger, but he basically effectively just said, I think what most right-wingers are saying at the point is, they're all pedophiles anyways. They're grooming children, and I absolutely, just so you know, I do not encourage anyone taking their children to a fucking drag show. I do not encourage that. We just had that incident with the fashion company where there was a couple young girls holding bondage bears, which is, sulking all over the internet right now, and they pulled the ad from that because it apparently had some court documents in it regarding a sexual case with children. I don't fucking know. I don't fucking want to know. But I incredibly discourage bringing your kids to a drag show. I am not an ideologue when it comes to these sorts of things, but I don't think that at the minds of 10 and 7-year-olds that you can really identify what you're looking at and what's going on, because I tend to think that's the big thing is children are curious when they're seeing that stuff. They want to know what's going on. But you have to be a certain age and you have to know what's going on. That's the problem. You need to know what's going on to be in that sort of environment. You can't be in that environment and be, I'm sorry, but that's just that you can't. That's why it's a problem for a lot of people, because they don't know what's going on. They don't know that these right here are fake or anything like that, or they don't know that the ball and gag in their mouth or whatever, the whip that they're being smacked with, they don't know why this is going on. And that is the situation. I'm not going to go into any further detail about that. I don't mean to opine on that sort of thing, but I get a little derailed by a lot of this, because this is a dumpster fire right now. It is a political dumpster fire. Because when I first read it, people were sitting there saying, "Oh, it's the shooter was a transgender person," and then they're saying, "No, the person who disarmed him was a transgender person." It's just like, okay, the person who tackled the shooter was an army veteran, and he was, yes, a drag queen. But now you have the shooter himself identifying as non-binary. So this is just Jesus fucking Christ, you know. I hope the courtroom does not focus on him being like, "Oh, I'm a non-binary person. I have gender dysmorphia." I hope they focus on the fact that you shot all these people, and none of that should just be thrown out the fucking door. It should not even be considered. I don't think you need to excuse his behavior because he is now claiming that he has gender dysphoria. Listen, I know a lot about this stuff, and I don't think this is someone who has gender dysphoria. I think a lot of people out there who identify as transgender or non-binary, I don't think they have gender dysphoria. This is someone who, in my mind, he has a beard. Look at his face. He's like 200 fucking pounds. He don't give a shit. He abducts his mother. He makes bombs. He does not sound like a transgender person or a non-binary person. He just doesn't. And I just think it's kind of funny too, because just look at his face. He got the shit beat out of him with a fucking stiletto. He basically got everything he deserved, and he deserves more. He definitely deserves more. I think he definitely deserves more. Anyways, yeah, look out for that, because they're going to sit there and they're going to blame that all on the conservatives, and the conservatives are going to call them all pedophiles. And no, but that's not only it. Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks is calling Tim Pool a pedophile, and now everyone on Twitter is calling Tim Pool a pedophile, and they're trying to deplatform him. You know, the lynch mob has smelt blood in the water. It's the pretty nasty situation. All he says, we shouldn't tolerate pedophiles grooming kids. Club Q had a grooming event. How do we prevent the grooming and violence? Oh my God. But yeah, he's being viciously attacked left and right. Cenk Uygur went out there and said that Tim Pool wears a beanie because it hides all of his apparent pedophilia. I don't know what the fuck he meant by that. I think he was just ad-libbing the whole thing and just couldn't come up with anything to say. It's like, "Oh, beanie, pedophilia, haha," and smacked them together, and like, there you go. Yeah, that's something that's going on right now. I kind of like Tim Pool every now and then. I'm not the hugest fan, but what he said, I can see why this would incite people, because I think it's just the way he said it. I don't know anything about a grooming event there. I know it was a drag show. I don't know if they're bringing kids there. I kind of hope not, but they're making it sound like they were. Either way, I don't think that's an excuse to go on a shooting spree, and I don't think that's what Tim Pool's implying here. But the way he worded this out is definitely going to incite people in that manner, especially people who aren't looking into things or doing all their research. So I'm sure there's more to this. I would think there's more to this. Yeah, so yeah, I don't think we should tolerate people going to shoot them up either. I don't think we should tolerate a lot of shit. But yeah, they're trying to deplatform him right now, and apparently he's a huge fucking pedophile because he wears a beanie. So that just automatically puts him in that category, because he's a little bit off center when it comes to sort of left-wing ideology. So the closest thing he can be is a pedophile. Like, you know, it's just an insult. That's all it is. It's just an insult, and I'm just seeing it everywhere right now. Just a fucking insult. Anyways, in other news, Quentin Tarantino had a few things to say about Marvel films, and apparently, you know, he's being a little bit whipped back and forth too, not too much. He said, my only axe to grind against them is that they're the only things that seem to be made, and they're the only things that seem to generate any kind of excitement. They are the entire representation of this era of movies right now, and there's really not much room for anything else. Yeah, and I can kind of agree with that. He's got a couple celebrities right now sort of lambasting him on the internet. I don't know if he said something that was anti-woke. I imagine that maybe he said something that offended them. That seems to be the crux of every issue on every Twitter dumpster fire or every lynching right now. But for the most part, I agree with what he said, because Marvel films really been balancing themselves out. They are no longer very entertaining. I mean, Thor is, you know, it's got screaming goats, and, you know, it's more of a comedy than it is like a comic. And I think even comic book fans are getting a little dried out by them as well. I really don't have a problem with comic book movies. I just really wish that they would focus on something other than Marvel and DC right now, because that's all they've been doing for like the past 15 years is Marvel and DC films. How many times have we done Spider-Man? How many times are we gonna do Batman? You know, like it's how about we do Spawn again? You know, I'm not a big fan of Spawn. I think Spawn is kind of cheesy, kind of lame, but I think it would do good right now if we made a Spawn film. You know, if we revamped the old Spawn movie and made a better one. You know, the one back in the 90s, 1997, that was really bad. But I think right now, with the period we're living in and the way movies are made, I think you could make a really good Spawn film, even though it's kind of a cheesy thing. Hey, all those comic books are kind of cheesy themselves, but they do justice with the movies, and I would really hope, like, can't we do like a Dark Horse movie or like or an Image movie? You know, like, I don't think the best comics come out of Marvel or DC. I think the best comics come out of the more independent creators. Like, you know, for example, like, not many people know this, but like A History of Violence was based off a graphic novel. I think even Road Perdition was a graphic novel, that Tom Hanks movie. But yeah, those are some of the best films, and those came out of, you know, smaller comics, you know, not big names like Marvel and DC. I just get so tired of hearing those two all the time, and they're always making the same characters over and over again. But no, I agree with a lot of what he said. It's pretty much that. It's not something that is very relevant anymore. And like he said, the setup in these movies is the same thing every time, and it is. It's the heroes get together, and then there's like some sort of threat, and they have to challenge the threat, and then the threat destroys half of the city, and then they defeat the threat, and then society rebuilds the city again. You know, then this happens in like every single one of them. The threat comes, destroys half the city, the heroes band together, they defeat it, and then society rebuilds the mess they made. Society is always rebuilding the mess they make. I don't know if they're trying to get some message across to us. Maybe they are. Maybe that's like America's way of saying, yeah, we're going to blow a lot of shit up, and you guys are going to have to fucking clean up after us. You know, I think that's kind of the feeling they want to instill in us, perhaps. I don't know. Either way, I'm Master Caticle. This is Geostrocastrophe. Please like, share, and subscribe. I really appreciate it when you do that, and I will see you next time.